And sorry if I get a little bit emotional because we've just been through some crazy stuff out here. We're on Bison Road and this is off of North Main Street. What happened was we were doing a live shot talking about how flooded the roads were. And over there, it was just past my knees. We heard somebody screaming in the distance. You can't see, it's dark out here. I had no idea what's going on. We got off and then we came running over here, and this is near a daycare and the Texaco gas station. Look behind me. This vehicle almost submerged in water here. There were two people inside. So one guy was able to get out and come flag us down. We ran out here and he said, my girlfriend, she's getting out and she's getting on the roof of the car. She's still over there. You know, thank God my photographer, John, he was here. He, threw me all the gear and jumped out here. The water is up past the waist out here, folks. This is not the time to get out here and drive around.
I want you to see this. We're right here at Memorial Park. This is Lancaster Terrace, right off of Riverside Avenue. And look at this. We are up in knee-deep water. The winds are very gusty, and our camera guy, Randy, is having a hard time standing here as well. That's the St. Johns River there, but the water is coming over the seawall here and flooding this area.
Take a look around and see how far this water is just flowing, and still the winds are still gusting very strong, and it hasn't let up yet on rain.
We're gonna show you this real quick. I just want to show you. I'm gonna step out, okay? Let me hold on to my hat. And Tommy's working it from the inside, but I just want to show you. It lifted me up. Just lifted me up a little bit, and I weigh well over 200 pounds. That stings, and that is coming from the beach. The ocean is about a block and a half that way. 3rd Street, a block and a half there. So we're right in between 1st Street and 2nd Street here in the downtown Cape of Jacksonville Beach.
We've got more video coming in also of damage to a kangaroo and a mobile gas station at Phillips and Bay Meadows Road. Wow.
Look at that. It just has collapsed. And you see those gas tanks, they look like they're protected, the pumps at least. But you do see that awning and the roof basically sitting on top of that mobile gas station. Also, Marsh Landing, again, thank you for your pictures. You can keep them coming to photo@wjxt.com. But this is a pool that is underwater in Marsh Landing, showing the flooding there. This is out of Clay County. It was video taken along Doctor's Lake, and those are people's homes. And you can see that it's into their backyard, and, what is that, Bruce? Can you even tell?
It looks like
maybe a fountain of something, or maybe a pool.
And parts of a
maybe it's a pool underwater.
And it looks like the floating debris may be what used to be a dock.
Yeah, I think this was Jen's friend who sent in this video, and what she said is that's a pool. Yeah, and so that was the water coming in over the pool. We continue to say, San Marco notorious for flooding, even though they've done a lot of work to try to get a handle on it. But as we kind of have this video, you see someone walking through it. That's not advised because it's just not safe. And then also, it really does look like that water's right up to the doors of those homes.
We have search and rescue teams ready to deploy. We have state assets coming in. I spoke to the governor this morning. Fish and Wildlife are sending in people. We want to make sure that everybody gets through this safe.
We are also getting some video out of St. Johns County, pretty incredible. A home in Volano Beach, and we talk about this all the time. I mean, they just are, it's so fragile there.
It's such a beautiful part of the beach. Whenever you drive down, if you ever take, I love driving down A1A. I've been doing it since I was a teenager. You drive down, you see those beautiful homes on the left, but there is such a small amount of land between the east side of A1A and the ocean, and we have watched over years slowly the ocean between tropical storms and whatnot eroding away that coastline, and sadly it appears that this hurricane did in this house.
Yeah, and
the Riverside Apartments on Riverside Avenue?
Unbelievable.
Okay, so what we are seeing, for those of you listening on the radio, is the St. Johns River, big caps of white water, basically, and that are pouring into the that apartment community there at Bell Riverside Apartments.
Just mentioned, I-95 at Emerson was closed because of flooding. But this looks like
They're FHP troopers.
This is Florida Highway Patrol, and they are trying to get that tree off the highway. where is that, Bruce? Is that
northbound, right off northbound 95.
okay? And it says Southside Boulevard, so where it branches off. So they're trying to get that tree off the road.
I am standing on Hogan Street in between Bay and Water. Okay, so right by the landing. If you take a look behind me, the St. Johns River has honestly kind of become a part of this road. I'm probably basically standing in it right now. If we take a look that way, you probably are familiar with that pavilion down there. You can just see the waves crashing over there. And I mean, we did get a glimpse of sunshine here just a second ago, but to be honest, the conditions out here have gotten worse. The wind is picking up. I heard earlier in the newscast that this water has no place to go. And from what I've been seeing out here, that's certainly true.
This is from San Marco. One of our channel staff looking at the evacuation shuttles that are moving in and around town. In this case, firefighters helped transport a woman from First Baptist Church to this JTA bus that is serving as essentially an evacuation shuttle right now.
This is a live picture now where they were rescuing that family. We saw that little boy in his life vest there on that porch, just a little ways away, and there they are rescuing these two little guys, getting them out of the water and onto dry land.
So they're going to go back to the porch. I think I saw Mom and Dad standing over there.
They are so calm,
so
too.
About it, but you know,
these
hey,
kids do better than we do.
Kudos to the parents for putting life jackets on those boys.
Yeah.
Hey, if you could ask the photographer, just to show us what's going on. You can see they're basically using, is that a surfboard?
It is a surfboard, and I'm wondering who is that? I mean, you know, I don't
know
if it's just a local
volunteer
person,
or what
a
have
volunteer.
But these people are, you know, they're taking whatever belongings they need to survive.
And in the back there, those are mailboxes. Just to give you some perspective as to how deep the water is, as we watch not only somebody in a canoe helping evacuate anyone, again, neighbors helping neighbors, but just behind, it looks like a jet ski of some sort or a watercraft just surveying the damage, and there's just massive flooding. And this video shot just a short time ago along the Intercoastal Waterway. This is the area between, off of San Pablo, between Beach and Atlantic. And docks that are covered. You can see the marsh there is overrun by the water at the ICW area.
We were talking about new video in from Lakewood.
And this is the area that's very close to Epping Forest Country Club, it appears. When we saw a picture of this actually about an hour ago, you could see that whole back area where a lot of times they'll have receptions and weddings was covered by water. A neighbor is helping an elderly couple, also new video into us, and their dog. This was in the San Marco area. You can see it looks like the woman there is using a walker to cross. It doesn't look like the waters there were as deep as we have seen them, and perhaps because we've been hearing from San Marco that some of that water is beginning to recede.
The damage assessments are coming in at the St. Augustine Municipal Marina. Take a look over my shoulder. This is a 36-foot motor yacht that has sunk. It is on the floor here, and this is what's jutting up, and this is all that's left. I've spoken with a worker here. He's not sure if the boat owner has been made aware, but this boat broke loose during the storm and is completely submerged. 36-foot motor yacht.
As you can see, we're being buffeted by winds, which is pushing this water further back inland toward the downtown core. My cameraman Mark right now is trying to deal with the buffeting water. I want to see how close to the Jacksonville landing I can get, because the fact that the landing, particularly the base inside the landing, is underwater is staggering.
You know, this is a tale of 4 vehicles, an SUV, and 3 car puppies submerged underwater. This is the London Town neighborhood, I think.
And if you're at home and you're wondering how much higher the water's going to go, keep looking for this big pile of debris. You can see it here. That debris line is what's critical to knowing how much higher it'll go. We're heading towards that high tide. I was talking to Jen and Bruce here a moment ago. Mark was with me, and we were illustrating, again, these are the little high water marks right in through here. Strangely, the water had actually receded a little bit, but I was just outside. It is back to the level it was about an hour and a half ago. And what that's saying is that that surge with the southerly wind Mark was just talking about is still ongoing into the downtown area. Here's a great picture of that. There's that debris line. Just went out to check outside the station, and you can see that debris line there, but that's where the water was. It has now come back up to that high water mark. And again, we'll probably see that high tide within about another hour and a half.
This, if you're familiar with the landing, is one end of the landing down near Hogan Street. This is the pavilion. Mark, could you show out there? So keep in mind, this is a bar that's up to me right here. Now, Mark, zoom into the bar down there, which is barely peeking over the crest of the water. This is where a lot of the water is flowing into the downtown core. Okay, Mark, my cameraman, pan to your right down there. I want to show, this is why the streets are flooded. It's all coming in through here. The landing is somewhat of a stopgap in stopping some of it, but where the road opens up here on Hogan, that's where the water is all going in, down near Bay Street, a block and a half into the downtown core.
So many people being rescued from their homes. Take a look at this new video that is in.
Yeah, so we captured this. A couple of people being rescued off the St. Johns River right here in Riverside. So where does the river stop and Riverside begin? It's all one big river at that point. Obviously, people needing some help there. Good to see people willing to help out there and our emergency responders.
Never seen the water that high. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. That's the park where Jim was. Wow. I mean, it brings a whole new perspective. Look at that. It's all the way out to the river that's still crossing the bulkhead. I think that shot there, that image, explains why we're doing this. We're not rescue people, and we're not trying to even fake like we are, but we certainly want to help with people that may have been, more so than just inconvenienced. We want to get them back to their homes, whether they're just going to survey the sites and/or I give you a hand here as soon as you come up. Are you going to trust me with your purse? Okay. I don't know. Step here. Let me use both hands here. Hold on one second, Jed. Okay. Yeah. You're welcome. Getting down's probably a little easier than getting up. You want to go ahead and have a seat here.
Right now, Black Creek is, cresting somewhere around 27.5 feet. This is someone's home. Just about 10 minutes ago, we watched a woman with the canoe. She had the canoe tied to a rope, the rope tied to a tree, and she just kept going back and forth to that front door there, just going inside, trying to get whatever she could salvage. But obviously, this home completely underwater almost and submerged, and everything in it basically damaged. And a lot of people are kind of walking this bridge area down here because the water's never, ever been this high.
Another street that's been turned into a river, as Southeast Georgia was also hit by Irma. The Glenn County schools are closed all the rest of this week as a result of what Irma did up there. Obviously, they're going to have to wait a long time for this water to recede before the school buses can get around.
Hogtown Creek. This is a creek. Yeah. Not right now.
Like a river right there.
River Rapids.
Alachua. So
crews and neighbors, volunteers helping to clean up all the trees that have been cut down.
So let's just take a trip down Riverside Avenue. As you guys can see, it is completely flooded. Now we're at least a couple of feet high off the ground. Brandon was kind enough to give us a ride. There are a couple cars that are stuck in different areas. I'm sure our photographer Kevin can see there's a car directly down Riverside Avenue that's gotten stuck.
We have been going all across this area looking for some of the worst hit areas in North Florida after Irma hit. And right behind me here on South Ponte Vedra Beach, this is one of the worst we could find. Take a look at this house, completely ripped to pieces. You can see pieces of the walls and the roof spread out throughout the front yard, and in the back you can see flooring and just the roof just pouring onto the beach.
We flew Sky 4 to Hastings in St. Johns County as well, where a rural community is inundated with water. Look here as livestock is just wading around in the water.
No, it's been tragic. I'm not sure about my own home, but I got to tell you, we got lucky. We got real lucky.
Communities torn apart by the power of Hurricane Irma. Now we're getting a better view of the devastation left behind by one of the most destructive storms on record.
It's more difficult when somebody asks you than when you actually see it. Reality sets in, this is gone.
Hundreds of thousands all across this region still without electricity. Crews scrambling to turn the lights back on.
They kept saying be patient, and I've tried to be, but it's not easy.
State and local leaders assessing the damage, promising help for those who need it most.
But, we're blessed. We're all standing here, and we're making progress.
News 4 Jax covering the story after Irma. And you're looking live over the beaches from the Sky 4 helicopter. Right in this picture, the beaches did a lot better than they did during Matthew. Crews are working nonstop to restore power to homes all across Florida. JEA says it cannot yet provide estimated restoration times. However, Florida Power and Light tweeted that it expects to have the lights back on in South Florida by this weekend, except in places hit by tornadoes, flooding, or other severe damage.
One of the hardest hit areas, the Keys, where FEMA estimates 65% of the homes there have major damage. 25%, though, were destroyed. This video just into our newsroom showing a fleet of FPL trucks ready to head out from Lake City to repair the power grid. And this video taken this afternoon as residents return to Miami Beach. Take a look at all that traffic. Here in our part of the state, our reporters are spread out around the area. We begin with Kent Justice, who's joining us live in St. Johns County. Kent.
Specifically in Crescent Beach, and this is stunning. I just got goosebumps coming out here the first time to see this damage. We have not been able to confirm that it was a tornado, but a storm. It is possibly a tornado. This, for instance, this piece of lumber jammed into the ground here. I think, if I'm putting together puzzle pieces, I think it may have come off one of those roofs that is destroyed here. This is summer house. These are condo units, many of them used as vacation properties. But even look on this side. I understand the storm came through about 1:15 early Monday morning and left behind this damage that people are now able to get back into and see. Again, it is stunning. We want to show you some Sky 4 drone video that we have from Crescent Beach as well. You'll get an overhead, an aerial look at some of the damage that I saw driving in. When you come down A1A, you see bits and pieces of signs demolished or torn down or trees overturned. But when you get to this specific area, you see the sheer devastation here, obviously caused, if not by a tornado, very, very intense winds during Hurricane Irma and those bands that came through. This is really amazing and a little bit dangerous, to be honest, because these things are all put together with nails. They're all out here sticking every direction. I want to bring in Lindsay Gardner, who's been here talking with people, getting some of that human element. Who have you talked to? And they've got to be stunned as well.
Oh, they're stunned silent. That's absolutely what I'm getting from out here, Kent. People actually rode out the storm in some of these condos, if you can believe it. Thankfully, no one was injured in this entire area where this possible tornado hit. I was also on the ground here as the National Weather Service was out here surveying the damage themselves today, and they tell me this is definitely possible tornado damage. An unexpected moving day for the Girard family after Irma brought a hurricane and a tornado to the Summer House condominiums.
Sometimes you got to look at it and say you're thankful that you're still standing.
Alan Girard's building was one of 5 destroyed. Thankfully, he and his wife evacuated. Joni Gardner did not.
It definitely was a tornado. And we were listening to you guys. You guys were calling the tornadoes so fast.
The ocean is calm today here in Crescent Beach, but people who rode out the storm tell me they think the possible tornado formed here over the Atlantic before roaring ashore and slamming into the Summer House condos. The National Weather Service spent the morning scouring what's left. How significant is this damage compared to other parts of the county?
This is the worst I've seen so far in our surveying, so this is pretty bad. Likely winds 90 or 100 mile an hour, or even higher than that, at least.
Something John Davis also heard firsthand. What'd you hear?
Sheer terror.
Now with bedrooms and bathrooms getting an ocean view more than they bargained for, Davis says next go around he'd make changes.
Next time I will be on the Canadian border.
So I also spoke with people who tell me part of the reason they decided to stay despite this area being under an evacuation order was that these condos held up so well under Hurricane Matthew. Wow. On top of that, they felt extra confident because Hurricane Irma was headed up the west side of our state. But Ken, I know as you know, and talking with our meteorologists, they tell us over and over again, one storm is not like the other, one hurricane is not like the other. This one far more destructive for this area, Hurricane Irma, than Hurricane Matthew.
Instructive in a lot of different fashions, and very instructive, I think, for people to be able to see this kind of damage. And let me just step over this way. Yeah, and you're saying it was a tornado. Did you see it?
Yeah.